Welcome to my crystal collection video series. We are at part 8, and my favorite type of crystal mineral to collect, that being specimens. So, because they are my favorite, I have a lot of them, like a lot. So, I'm not going to go into each and every crystal in detail because it would take literally forever. This is all going to be long enough. So, I'm just going to, give a brief overlay of them and give you the name in case you want to look it up and, learn about that more, right? So yeah, that's what we're going to do. We're going to go through them not by size, just by alphabetical order. And yeah, I can't wait to show you because this is my favorite type of crystal mineral to collect, really. So we're going to do the A and Bs today. Yeah. And so let's just get right into it. All right, so the first specimen I have is actually quite a small one, and that is my actinolite specimen. So actinolite is something you don't really see as specimens very often because the crystals themselves don't form really well. So this is a very small specimen with actually not too bad of crystals, and they're still small because the way that they grow really spinally, like they're really crooked and very fragile. It does land on I'd say 5-6 on the Mohs scale, but they're still really spindly, and they can either form crystals like this, or they can form in a fibrous crystal, which is what you see with, say, asbestos. So very fiber-like. And, of course, then it becomes dangerous because you don't want to breathe that in. But, yeah, they also come in, smaller crystals. But, yeah, they break easily. So, yeah, you don't really see them often on the market. But I still like it. I still think that it's kind of cool. I love the green, dark green. And I love that it's not something that people really have in their collection. So, yeah. Then this is interesting. Okay, so this is my agate specimen. And why it's interesting is because I found this agate when I went agate hunting at the Bay of Fundy in Nova Scotia. I was just on a trip there, and I'm in the process of tumbling all of them, except I'm not sure about tumbling this one because of the botryoidal chalcedony druzy on top. I don't want to screw that up. And like this white part here, this is just calcite, like not a good type of calcite, not gemmy or anything. But this can be easily removed with muriatic acid, which I have. What I don't have, though, is a small enough drill bit or whatever to sand it and polish it up. I only have a tumbler for the smaller pieces like this. So I'm going to have to get some more tools for my lapidary shop, whatever, my lapidary room. And then I'll be able to polish it up and make it nice and pretty. So for now, it's just going to stay my specimen. But you can tell it's going to be really interesting. Like even just the red and then the sort of, dark brown taupe burgundy chalcedony right here. So I can't wait to see what this looks like when I, get it done. Then my next specimen is also quite small. That is this agatized shell specimen. So this is basically like a fossil that's been sort of turned into agate or a chalcedony. And it's a process called biomineralization, where something can be transformed into like opal, agate, or different types of minerals, right? Organic material. And that's what you see here. So this shell actually UV reacts. And I swear to God, I am going to get a better black light and figure it out because you got to see them UV react because it's just really cool. Like this gives off a fluorescent yellow. So yeah, but that's just really cool. Then I have this amazonite specimen. So what amazonite is, it is a greenish blue sort of turquoise color of K feldspar. So it's a variety of K feldspar. And you don't really see much of it raw out there, like all chunky like like this. It usually comes in a carved sort of form. And that's why I love the fact that I've got a piece, because you don't really see much of it on the market as raw. So, very pretty. Up next, I have this amber specimen. So this particular type of amber comes out of Indonesia. And some people refer to it as blue amber because it UV reacts this sort of bright blue, sometimes bluish green color. It's really pretty too without lighting it up with a black light, but a regular flashlight, just a light of any kind really, because you get to see inside of it better. And it's got this sort of slight greenish tint that bleeds into like this yellow that bleeds into a nice deep red. And yeah, it's just really cool. And then next I have this amethyst specimen A. Now the reason why it's A, or I name it A, is because there's some specimens, some material that I have more than one of. So it's just a way to track it and record it and organize it. And so yeah, so this is my first ever amethyst. That's why it's A. But it's a type of amethyst that's known as an amethyst flower. And that's because of these sort of, you see these bumps? It's very small flowers. But sometimes amethyst, when it grows into these sort of bumps, when it sort of juts out these crystals. And kind of resembles a flower, so that's why it's named amethyst flower. It's more of a, not like an official name, it's more of like a marketing name, just to sort of convey that. But yeah. So that's that. And the next amethyst is a much bigger form of amethyst flower. So this is my amethyst specimen B. And see, as you can see, the flowers are forming where it just sort of blooms out with its crystals. And this is interesting because of the gradient of color. You have sort of this almost bluish tint to it, kind of like a lavender tint to a blue tint, which is kind of cool. Yeah, a nice big chunk of amethyst flower, I guess. And I'm not done with amethyst because I have this amethyst specimen C over here, which is the typical amethyst that you would, think of when you think of amethyst. This comes out of Brazil, I believe, and it has, or either that or Uruguay. I can't fully recall, but I don't have the sheet with me right here, so that's okay. But yeah, this is what you typically think of when you think of amethyst, right? It comes out of a geode, and the crystals here are just super big and super deep, lush with the color, and I love it. Definitely a stunner. And Uruguay and Brazil, by the way, is probably the best locality for quartz of any kind, amethyst included. So the next specimen is also an amethyst. So this is my amethyst specimen D. As you can see, it's a little bit different. So this has got this red sort of tint to it. This one does not come out of South America at all. It comes from Spain. So yeah, this one's got like a red hematite sort of tint to it. And that's due to just the inclusions within it. And yeah, it's just, so it's got like a little bit of red, tint to it, which is nice. Red and purple. Moving on to something that's very similar, but not quite amethyst. Instead, this is my amethyst phantom quartz specimen. So it's a phantom quartz, but not really. What this is that there was an amethyst growing and some sort of environmental change occurred, and then another quartz started growing over top of it. So this is from Guerrero, Mexico, where these sort of phantoms were found, and that was back in the 80s. So this is a specimen that I got off a personal collection of someone who sells crystals, right? They were selling some of their personal collection. And so I got it. And yeah, so this was mine to the 80s. Very popular, but you don't see it really now because it's kind of like gone. So yeah, this is a special specimen piece. And then I have this teeny tiny ametrine specimen. So as you can see here, this is what is going to be known as citrine, right? If you see my other videos, you know that citrine is just irradiated quartz, different quartz, right? Whether it's amethyst, smoky or clear, doesn't matter. And this is ametrine because it was an amethyst that has started to irradiate. So, yeah, definitely special. Right, we're finally going to move away from anything amethyst, at least for now. So the next piece I have, the next specimen, is this apatite on albite specimen. So the blue is the apatite, and this white is the albite. And yeah, it's a little bit, I guess you could say, scaly, the look to it. That happens with apatite. It is just interesting. It took me actually a while to figure out what this was because I got it at a sale where it was pre-owned, right? And they considered this, they were trying to say this was brucite. I was like, this is not brucite. So I actually had to figure it out, had to like really try to go out of my way to figure out what this was. I knew it wasn't brucite, but I knew that it was something else. And I didn't know what it was. That's what I knew. But I finally figured it out, finally got some pictures, and I was able to go through mindat.org to figure it out. And by the way, that's a great site to go to, mindat.org. I'll link it to the description because it has everything in there, all types of minerals and crystals, and it's run by a group of mineralogists, right? So it's very scientific, right? It tells you everything about the composition of a mineral, everything about it, just everything. So yeah, check it out. But yeah, so this is my apatite on albite specimen. All right, so I have something similar yet different to show you. So the next specimen is this apatite with hematite and quartz growth specimen. So this is also apatite. It's just a different quality, sometimes referred to as flora apatite, but it's still apatite. And definitely gemmy apatite. Small but pretty. And yeah, look at that, just glistening. Anyway, so the hematite here, if you can see that, the triangle. See, that's the sort of metal hematite, right? Because it's like a metal or a metallic sort of mineral. And you can see it on the outside, but you can also notice how it's leached its color into the crystal. And that's the red, obviously, right? It's been sort of flowing through the crystal because it had grown around it and yeah, leached inside. So when you hear like fire quartz and all that, and that being streaks of hematite, well, yeah, this is what happens when hematite gets within a crystal. It goes like almost like a blood red, which is just a really cool feature because it's like a metal or a metallic sort of mineral. So you wouldn't really think of it as turning red, but it does. And you can definitely see it clearly here. And yeah, then you just got some quartz around it, and yeah, pretty little thing. My next piece I'm going to show you is this apophyllite with stilbite growth specimen. So apophyllite usually comes out of India. This one comes out of India, but not limited to India. It's just where most of it comes from. And yeah, it's very similar to quartz, but it's not a quartz. The shape and the composition is different. But it's got this clear sort of quartz-like, look to it. It also can come in green, but it's a little bit more rare, a little bit more expensive, but it's possible. And not just that, this one boasts really good rainbows, actually. Apophyllite can boast real nice rainbows, depending on the quality. And it's usually found with different zeolites. And a stilbite is a type of zeolite. So a zeolite is like this big overarching, group of particular minerals. So this pink sort of growth right here, that's the stilbite. And yeah, the reason why I picked this up is because for some reason I saw a unicorn horn, to be honest. I was like, oh, kind of cool. I like just the shape of it. So that's why I picked it up. Next is this absolutely gemmy and gorgeous aquamarine specimen. So this aquamarine, very small, but this is very gemmy, right? And the blue is just perfect, the perfect kind of blue. So yeah, and the shape is just, it's like the perfect gem. This is what you want to see when you see aquamarine, definitely. It's definitely good, high quality. And yeah, I think we all know what aquamarine is or heard of aquamarine, so I won't really press too much on that point. And then I have this aragonite specimen. So this type of aragonite is purple, something you don't see every day. And I just liked it. I liked the color, and I liked the fact it had little babies growing out of it. And aragonite is actually very, very similar to calcium carbonate, so calcite. And you get lots of pieces with, or specimens or carvings that contain both aragonite and calcite often. You see this with Caribbean calcite carvings and stuff, because the sandy aspect of that mineral is the aragonite. So, brown aragonite. But yeah, this one boasts a pretty purple color. It can come in like other colors as well, like blue, green, red. So yeah, sometimes colorless, but not very often. Then another smaller specimen. This time it is this azurite specimen. So I love azurites. It's always got this very deep, dark blue color to it. Sometimes a little bit brighter, like more like Egyptian blue, but yeah, that's the sort of color range that it has. And it's just so pretty. It is a secondary copper mineral, frequently found with ore deposits. And yeah, it has over like 45 different sort of forms. So you can get like azurite suns, you can get different sort of crystal formations with it. And it's actually usually found beside or alongside or, growing on or around malachite. So you often see those two minerals together. And then next, we are going on to our Bs now, finally. I have this barite with hollandite and vanadinite growth specimen A. So I think we all know what barite is. It's pretty popular. What hollandite is, though, it's these black little tiny speckled dots. It's just a manganese oxide mineral, a type of. Then we have the vanadinite, which is this orange sort of crystal sparkly growth that you see here. It's very, very small amount and, very, very minuscule in size. However, vanadinite can come in bigger sizes. But what it is, vanadinite is a secondary lead mineral, and it's usually found in lead deposits, but in arid climates. So, yeah, because that turns the alteration of vanadium-bearing sulfates and silicates into the crystal itself. And Then my other piece is the same thing. If you notice, I had this at an A. So I have another barite with hollandite and vanadite growth specimen, but B. And yeah, you could definitely see a difference, and that's because of the vanadinite. Sort of, there's a lot more of them, and it sort of mixed in with the hollandite, so it created this very beautiful sort of color range and gradient on the barite. And I liked both, so I got both because they were a little bit, unique to each other. So now we're on to my last specimen of this video, my last B specimen, and that is this blue lace agate specimen. So, love the color, and I love the druzy, the open cave, and I picked this one up in particular because if you can look inside here, you can see this triangular sort of crystals coming into being, growing within. Hopefully you can see that. And yeah, I just love it. And it just kind of looks like it's spilling out, like all that sort of druzy. And yeah. And that's everything that I have for you today. Part 9, we're going to go over the specimens starting with the C's. So I think it'd probably all be C's because there are a lot of specimens starting with that letter. Anyways, so yeah, if you enjoyed this, like, comment, and subscribe. Be on the lookout for the next one, and I will see you later. Bye!